Okay, so Donald Trump just became the 47th president of the United States of America, and they have a national prayer service after the inauguration. And what happened is not what you would expect. This is not at all what a national prayer service should have been like. We're supposed to pray for the president and his new leadership and for God to use him and, stuff like that, right? Well, let's take a listen at what happened at the prayer service.
In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families, some who fear for their lives.
Okay, that's exactly why we needed Trump back in office. There are transgender children. Do you know what that means? That means that there are parents who are mutilating their children. That goes directly against what God says. God says we are created in his image, male and female, and he doesn't make mistakes. God made us how we're supposed to be. And yeah, we might feel confused sometimes. We might not know who we are, but we find our identity in him. And so to say that the transgender children are fearing for their lives, that's why we needed Trump back. We needed a president that would take command and say there are only two genders, just as God says. And it's not like he's going to like hunt for these transgender people or lesbian. She said gay and lesbian people. Like, what is he? Do they think he's gonna go like kill them? That's not what's going on. We understand that we needed a leader that doesn't believe there's 72 genders. We needed a leader that believes it's one nation under God. And Man of God, this podcast is about masculinity, standing up as men, how God calls us to be. So I'm not trying to just get political here. I'm trying to show you guys what's happening right now. This is a direct look at what the United States is looking like. And this is why we needed Trump. So I don't know what she's talking about, fearing for their lives. What is Trump going to do? No, he's bringing the order back just like God designed.
And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples.
While that may be true, that they may be members of certain groups, and they may not have directly committed a violent crime, to be an undocumented person in a country is a crime. To enter the country illegally is a crime. You have to have borders to protect your citizens, just like you have walls and locks on your house to protect your family. Do you not do that? Let me ask you, do you have a lock on your door at your house? Why? Because you're protecting your family. I believe in the forgiveness of God, the grace of God, the mercy of God. But if someone breaks into my house and points a gun at my family, you better bet I'm not just going to stand there and give them forgiveness. I'm going to do what I have to protect my family, because that's a God-given call. We are called to stand up and protect our families. And that's the same thing that our borders are doing with our country. We are protecting the citizens of the country with the borders. Borders are biblical.
I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands.
Yeah, refugees are different than
find compassion
illegal
and welcome
immigrants.
Here. Our God teaches us that we are to be merciful to the stranger, for we were all once strangers in this land.
Right, let me bring up the same point I just made again. When someone is walking into your house, if someone breaks into your house, you're not just going to give them mercy and let them do whatever they want to your family. You know what I mean? That's not what I would do. And if you do that, then are you really being who you're supposed to be as a Christian, as a man? as a provider and a protector? Are you protecting your family by letting someone in and letting them take your family away? Do bad things? No. That's all we mean when we want borders for our country. And I don't know what this is. This is supposed to be a prayer service for the new incoming president, where you're going to take all the prayers possible and offer them up kind of as a sign that you are giving this presidency to God. You're saying, Lord, use President Trump. Give him wisdom. Give him strength. Give him peace. Give him the presence of God to be able to navigate the presidency, to lead the nation as one nation under God. That's what a prayer service is supposed to be like. This doesn't sound like a prayer service. This sounds like a complete disrespect to the incoming president of the United States. It's a lecture.
May God grant us the strength and courage to honor the dignity of every human being, to speak the truth to one another in love,
Right, the truth.
and walk humbly with each other and our God for the good of all people in this nation.
I agree with what she
And the world.
just said, that to speak the truth in love. You see, is it loving to lead someone into a lie? Is it loving to let parents mutilate their children so that they completely change their lives forever in a decision where they were confused and they didn't know what they were getting themselves into? Is that loving? Or is it loving to tell them that God loves them and God created them how they are, and that they will find their identity in Him? Which one's more loving? Because I don't think it's very loving to lead someone into a lie of sin, to lead someone into destruction, to lead someone away from God. It's not very loving. I just wanted to react to that and show you guys what's going on, because I'm a Christian. I'm a man of God. I'm trying to be a man of God as best as I can. So when I see things like this, I want to point them out and say, I want to question the people that put this service on, and this woman in particular. Is that what Christianity is? Is it lecturing the President of the United States when you're supposed to be offering him in prayer and covering him in prayer for his presidency? That is not a prayer service, and that's a disgrace to the incoming president. I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican. If it was Biden, or Kamala, if Kamala had won the election and there was a prayer service, everyone in the room should pray for her wisdom, knowledge, peace, just like they should for Trump. They should not lecture him about his policies when what he's trying to do is protect the citizens of his country. Because as a president, as a commander-in-chief, what's your number one job? Protect your citizens. What's your number one job as a father? Protect your children, right? And if you don't have any truth, going back to her first point, if you don't have any truth in telling, if you don't have any order saying there are only two genders, and I think that's what she's referring to when she says that they fear for their lives because of Trump being the president. I think because he said there's two genders. That's a fact. I'm sorry, facts don't care about your feelings. God still loves you regardless, but you still have to have order to maintain and uplift his word over the culture. Kingdom over culture, like I always say. So that's what's going on right now. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments, and if you think this is disrespectful or if you think this is good. If you think you agree, disagree, let me know. Man of God here, we talk about anything, masculinity, anything God-related. And look, we're faith-based. We believe in Jesus, but we also believe that God created us to do a certain job as a man. That's what I want to do. We're going to sharpen each other. Click subscribe to join, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.